Dota.
All right. I'm excited to see how these opening couple of minutes are going to look like, about whether or not if Ramfu Dao is going to make early rotations on the Skywrath Mage. Combined up with those three heroes in the offlane, it's going to be a pretty heavy kill threat lane. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see that, Lonfer gets himself up to a really, really good start and then kind of just finishes off those early couple of levels with a rotation towards the top lane. So once Lonfer gets off to a good start, I'd expect Ramfu Dao to be able to make rotations.
Okay. Also have an answer. Kama is going to be playing from the off lane. He has experimented with the Shoal in the past, but he's just going to be slotting in directly for the side of Supernova, not asking them to adjust their team structure just for him. Good guy. And they're potentially setting up for a kill here in the mid lane. They have an Observer Ward scouting Ramfu Dao. He's not necessarily aware what's happening, but he does feel like he wants to play with his team, not venture all by his lonesome onto this high ground. And that intuition ends up keeping him alive.
Yeah, and also the one issue that Supernova have is that their level 1 catch is kind of bad. Like, they don't really have a good way of stunning anybody or pulling them really out of position unless Kama somehow gets in a very interesting position. So they will just chill for now. They will respectfully go 2-2 when it comes to the bounty runes. And the laning phase is off without a hitch. And it's going to be an interesting start for both these two teams. Very, very strong side lanes for Supernova, whereas the side of Team Disillusion, their side lanes get a lot stronger when their supports are able to combine with one of their two cores. So if they get the first couple of minutes going their way and they haven't really lost too much and maybe they've got a little bit of regen still in their lanes, you can expect some of these supports to be able to link up with each other, whether it's Aaron going bot or Ramfu Dao going top.
Exciting side lanes. Unfortunately, as per usual, boring as hell mid lane. Pang or Void Spirit, get me out of here. Nothing happens. It's gonna be so boring. It's not even like some Queen of Pain lane where something drastic could happen. With these heroes, we just trade farm. That's chilled. Top lane, fun could happen there. Fun could happen in the bottom side of the map. What do you think? Who's getting first blood and which lane is it gonna happen?
I think the lane that's probably going to get first blood is there'll be first blood in bottom, but I'm not sure who's going to get it first. I probably feel like Ramfu Dao could potentially be on the chopping block early on. You know, if he gets caught out by Sheep and Camel, he potentially could be going down, or it could be the other way. Oh, he didn't click him.
Sheep almost ended up dying. He was 20 HP, but did not get clicked. Lonfer, let's not blame him too much. Poor guy doesn't have thirst just yet. Didn't have the movement speed. Enchantress super fast, but now he's gonna get skewered back. Enchantress has full HP, drops the blood right down. Kamma's gonna trigger onto him, and this time around he does have the thirst. Doesn't decide to chase all the way though, as he's taking some right-click damage from this Enchantress. It's always so scary to me how much damage early on Enchantress can do. Like, this Bloodseeker, if it was a different support, he could have actually made the chase, but because it's Enchantress, if he chased there, he would have died.
Yeah, Enchantress is kind of messed up with how much she can do early on, especially with impetus against a lot of these heroes that may not have the most amount of armor. So yeah, this bottom lane is going to be extremely volatile until one of the two cores is either involved in a kill or isn't the one that gets killed.
Top lane is equally as volatile, as we almost saw the Batrider taking a tumble there as well. Dong was applying pressure before having it thrown back in his face. So you were correct, sir. The side lanes, meat grinders right now. Spells being thrown around, lots of damage being done. No death just yet, but the more this keeps on, the happier Lonfer will be here in this bottom lane with this Bloodseeker.
Yeah, and that's a thing, right? As soon as you start getting towards like that level 3, level 4 mark, where maybe you have 2 levels in the thirst, that's when you're going to start to really enjoy a lot of this trading. For Lonfer, you can keep up your HP relatively high, and if these fights ever do get down to the death, that is when it really enables the Bloodseeker. And interested to see what kind of build Lonfer is going to go this time around. See, obviously the Maelstrom is one of the good pickups for you, but about whether or not he wants to try and mitigate any of the global silence prowess, or maybe like an early Manta style, which couldn't be too bad for the Bloodseeker, or maybe whether or not he just wants to go straight BKB into like Bash or normal stuff.
So that's a lot of time to make his decision. For now, small KK. Sheep. Sheep is actually going to end up dead. Blood Ride triggers. Hey, Lonfer. Very happy about that. Ramfu Dao got the slows. They prevent the escape, and Sheep You know why Lonfer is happy about this? Not only is this annoying ass Enchantress dead, but I don't have to be eating impetus shots while I'm last hitting. Feels good.
He did lose 2 last hits to his own volition after Sheep had died. So
Oh no.
that's a little unfortunate, and he got caught in 4K too. So it's right, Lonfer, you got yourself first blood. That's always a decent amount of gold, but now with the runes starting to come up once again, we're seeing a lot of these supports come towards the middle lane, and this is what I talked about, right? Like when the first blood happens or the first kill happens in one of these side lanes, it kind of just signals for the supports to try and go ease up some of the issues in some of the other lanes. Like Sheep, now that he's already seen that he can die and they've got extra levels on him as well, it's going to be harder for him to try and play in this bottom lane. So I'd imagine he's going to see if they can get a kill with Kama early on, maybe on a Ramfu Dao, and then he's just going to start making his own transition on this Enchantress to other lanes to help them out.
Let's see what Sheep does decide to do. Top lane. Aaron, how's he performing so far on the Batrider? Haven't seen a kill happen top just yet. Dong seems to be farming for the most part uninterrupted. And all right, looks like we've gotten past the hill where kills could reasonably happen easily in the top lane anymore. Everyone has enough money has enough experience to have the necessary points. You have 2 points in meta, you have the 2 points in Arcane Curse, and Shola's actually going to try and leverage those points by going bottom. He's taking a twin gate trip. Lanfa needs to be careful here.
He got back to Roche.
Feels bad, man. Roche is on the way to work. He's in a hurry. Don't interrupt him. Lanfa just got slowed up by the enchant, and here we go. Do they have the damage to kill him is the question. Kama finds the shockwave, skewers forward, and this should lead to a dead Bloodseeker. Shola throws in the blood grenade. Blood grenade for a Bloodseeker. It's kind of poetic that that's what kills him.
Yeah, and this is what I talked about, right? As soon as, you know, the Terrorblade's feeling okay with his lane, or, you know, same thing with the Bloodseeker, you can just see these fives make their transition, and that's exactly what Shola does. Goes towards bottom, gets the kill there onto Lonfer, opens up the map again for Kama, and that just means that you can just see Sheep just going, okay, this is a good time for me to go try and get my own farm. I'll go get some stacks going, see what we can do towards the middle lane. And then the laning phase eventually just starts to break down until these big cores in the side lanes want to start moving around. Because it's mainly just going to be support rotations and trying to link up with their mid laners, who both have their level 6s right now. And this is where it's going to get scary. First, power rune goes the way of Eren, which is always nice.
It's a good thing too, because had it not gone towards him, it would have been a haste rune for Pango, and they leverage it to go kill the young Terrorblade. Dong is dead. He's all alone. The Silencer not here this time around to help him out. And they should be able to leverage it with the Sea Dragon onto a tier 1 tower push as well. So, good stuff. And it's interesting how Dota cascades, right? If Eren doesn't get that rune, maybe Pango goes like bottom to get a kill, but we might still have a kill happening here anyway, as Lanfa got skewered back towards the 2 supports. No Sheep or Shola have left this area, so they're available to get revenge for what happened in the top lane.
Yeah, there's no vision there for Lonfer. I thought maybe he might have respected Sheep coming back towards bottom, but he thought maybe just with those 2 heroes that wasn't going to be enough damage to kill him, and he gets skewered into an extra hero.
Big rotation to the top lane for Han and Shola as they go in. Arcane Curse on the 2 heroes. Rolling Thunder committed by Han as well. Iron at the very least finishes off the tier 1 tower, but his life is certainly forfeit. It's a double kill for Dong as well in the process. And Han very happy with his first big rotation on the map. And sadly, we do not see the same move being mirrored coming in from their mid laner, so no punish elsewhere for the side of the Radiant.
Yeah, special small KK is sitting towards that mid lane a little more, and Lonfer is on the chopping block once again. This is pre-level 6.
Yeah, I've seen this movie here, Fluke. He's 5.5 right now. Needs to play very, very carefully. But Kama doesn't have much mana. That's the issue. Like, a lot of this has relied on the skewer shockwave. He should have enough if he pops the wand. But Lanfa is playing fairly carefully. Ensnare will come out from the Dark Hole Summoner. But I think Lanfa should end up being alive. Especially with Aaron also making a rotation.
His Sheep found out the Batrider, but I'm not sure if Aaron found him. A lot of heroes coming bottom now, though.
Dude, if they can get out of here, this feels so good. And indeed, it doesn't seem like they'll be tracked for this move. Aaron even triggers Firefly, hoping for somebody. But nobody will oblige to show themselves. That leaves this mid lane being pushed in by the Pango. Terrorblade casually farming his jungle. And a lot of wasted time for these Radiant heroes. Maybe they get this Pango though. Han has to go shield crash onto the high ground, and he doesn't swashbuckle, Fluke. Fluke! He had swashbuckle. He had Rolling Thunder. He should not have died there.
Yeah, I don't know either. I definitely thought that Han was going to be able to get out of that, but I mean, he gets punished, and the small KK rotation did feel bad going towards the bottom side, but at the end of the day, he gets himself a kill onto the mid laner, which is probably what's going to make you pretty happy about that. But it just seems like right now that Supernova are just getting the better of some of these rotations. They haven't really been able to do all too much with their Batrider, and that's starting to cause a bit of issue for me. Is about if he's making these rotations and not sitting back and just kind of free farming as a Batrider can, then Aaron can really fall behind as a bat. We've seen it. I can't remember which game it was, but we had a actually no, maybe it was the Western Europe game that I did with B Cop, and there was a position 5 Batrider that never got a blink. Literally, not for the entire game. Didn't get a blink dagger, and I don't want to see that again because that was sad.
They'll definitely need some dynamism to come in from Aaron. Small KK can't do it all by his lonesome. But we're still fairly far away from that point. Aaron doesn't have that kind of net worth at the moment to even think about a Blink Dagger right now. The primary concern is going to be how do we open up the map. They're trying to play around this mid lane. However, their pushing prowess on the side of Team Disillusion, not really that great. So Han can just post middle. As long as he has Swashbuckle, spam the spell out. Very hard to take down this tower. And they're going to go bottom. They're looking towards saving Sheep's life and potentially killing off Lanfur. Dong is here as well with the TB. Shola and Kama right around him. And Dong, looks like there's a little bit of, not necessarily miscommunication, but he did not want to be the first body in that fight. And says, so you know what? I don't think Lanfur's life is worth me potentially giving up my own. I'm going to go farm these Ancients. Y'all can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, I think maybe they were hoping to try and get a rotation to try and take this tier 1 tower bot because they have lost their tier 1 tower top. So Dong is just like, I kind of want to try and find a place to farm where there's not too many people around. But unfortunately for him, he ran into most of Team Disillusion. And that will just signal the retreat for him, who's doing pretty okay on the Terrorblade so far. A lot of the cores coming in from Supernova are doing pretty well on the net worth, but there's not really any cores that are starting to balloon out the front of anybody. I think Small KK has a decent lead here with 300 gold, but he's the one that hasn't really made all too many rotations. Echo Saber is almost done for him now, though, which kind of signals to me that they want to try and get some kills, right? They go in, they see if they can catch it out of Silencer, maybe they can keep farming off Sheep for a little bit, and keep getting Ramfu Dao a lot of experience because this hero, Sky Mage, is very, very spooky when you get experience. You get maxed out Arcane Seal, you get maxed out Concussive Shot. When you start these fights, people just blow up and die.
Yeah. Well, he does have a smoke in his inventory for Ramfu Dao, Small KK, as you mentioned, finishing off his Echo Saber. So now let's see what decision is going to be made. With level 6 available, there are some targets that could die if they find them. Problem is a lack of vision. The map is not the brightest spot in the world. Have a decent defensive wards for themselves, but the offensive variety are lacking somewhat. We do see a potential Rolling Thunder. Han gets himself a Global Silence next to him by Shola. Rolling Thunder triggered off by him. They're going on to Small KK. Can they kill him in time? And yes, they can. Just as the Global ends, Ranfu Dao cannot help him. And Ranfu Dao himself just trying to get rid of this DD rune, but he gives up the chase. He knows if he goes there and they spot him, he gets enchanted, and then he probably gets killed, DD rune or no, on the enemy team.
Yeah, that was a nice little setup there. I think it was good that Han was just kind of poking and prodding away at Small KK until that rune did come up. Just meant that he wasn't at full HP when that engagement happened. So nice use of the first Global Silence there. To be able to get themselves the free kill onto the Void Spirit. But now Small KK is up and he wants some revenge. Maybe they can get Camo, but he's so hard to kill. You know, 1700 HP, 10 1 stacks, full Vanguard. Like that's a lot of damage you have to try and pump into him. And I think the only way you're going to really be able to do it was if Aaron as well as Ramfu Dao were there. But they were not. Seems like both these teams are more than happy to sit back and farm. Han's getting to the point now where he's got his Diffusal Blade, so he's ready to fight when he has to. But we'll be going in towards that Lincoln Sphere. Nothing really crazy for Dong so far. I like that Sheep's going for this early Hurricane Pike. It is kind of the best item for Enchantresses. So I like that so far. And yeah, everything's pretty stock standard. Nothing too surprising opening up here.
Sheep and Han will finally go on a smoke move. They have a double damage rune for this Pangolier. So it's time to try and kill somebody. Unfortunately for them, though, Disillusion, aware that something might be coming, they trigger a scan around the river, and they posture some heroes around Lanfa to protect them. So Supernova will find their approach blocked off. We've been seeing a lot of this move in China, especially in Div 1. Around this point in the game, if you're playing on dire side, you go and invade Radiant Triangle, try to take it over. But Supernova unable to make that reach happen this time. They'll have to content themselves, like you said, with just the farming. That being said, though, if I'm playing a lineup that has Magnus, Terrorblade, even Enchantress, I don't care about like just casually farming away. Feels good to me.
Yeah, it definitely does. And that's why I think Team Disillusion are kind of just waiting on some of their items before they start to get these clashes going. I believe they have a full mechanism out now on Aeonid. They've got Maelstrom ready on Lorn Fur. He's just going to go into the BKB. So they're obviously trying to hit this early time, and they're giving a little bit of extra time to Eren as well to build this Blink Dagger. And when they have those items, they're ready to party, right? Like they can just start chucking themselves into a lot of these tier 1 towers. They got at least ways of slightly dealing with the dealing with the global silence by just trying to out heal it with the mechanism and such. But still going to be a hard fight to try and go into them if they don't catch this silencer early on, and they have to deal with the Rolling Thunder, they have to deal with RP, they have to deal with global silence. Like, it doesn't really get easier for Team Disillusion from here.
Still, though, they will have a couple of their own items coming soon. And BKB not that far away from Lanfa. And Ionid not that far away from having Crimson. Once Ionid has Crimson, that's a fairly decent timing. Crimson, Mech, it's a lot of sustain that they'll have available. On the side of Supernova, still haven't finished off all their damage items. But I don't want to see them stay playing this laid-back, passive style. And yes, even though they're accruing their own net worth, the risk feels a bit high. And bottom, Ionid might end up being dead here if he gets scouted. He walks right into the 3 of them. That feels so bad. He's going to attempt to TP out right now. Rolling Thunder gets used up, and he actually just gets out. In the meantime, while that's happening, in the top lane, Dong is able to take down the Eren Batrider all by his lonesome. Okay, nice move. They still get a tier 1 tower in the bottom lane, though.
Yeah, that was, I mean, a fairly decent trade. You at least forced Ionid outside of the bottom lane, and middle fight mid.
Kama, he got himself Mystic flared up, but the Global Silence protected him, and now with the young RP dropped onto this Void Spirit, they kill him off. Ionid took a Dark Rift with the Fiend's Gate coming middle to render aid, but he might have put himself in an awkward place as Dong also now makes his presence known, wanting to put in some right-click damage, but the Underlord is a bit too far away. The Fiend's Gate will elapse. Supernova still hold on to their tower, and they don't lose any heroes in the process.
Yeah, losing Spore KK twice in a row now is a little unfortunate for them. He obviously needs to build towards this Manta style until he's able to comfortably play against the Global Silence. They did a really good job. Oh no, they've got Aeonid now too.
Oh gosh, dude, this young skewer Blink play did so good. And they're trying to get out. The Underlord is so tanky, but even he will eventually fall. Magnus fighting underneath the tier 1 tower, so getting some bonus armor. It's taking longer than it should to kill him. And bringing him down will lead to Eren losing his own life. Dong is also involved in this fight. Small KK didn't just die twice, he's died a 3rd time in a row here, Fluke. The only survivor of this fight being Lorn Fur, and that's only because he doesn't want to get too involved. A 4-for-2 affair middle. Tier 1 tower still protected. They're probably going to get a tier 1 of their own. And everything coming up Supernova right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're just getting beaten by the team that outscales them early on, and it's really starting to feel a little rough. You know, I understand the reason behind the Bloodseeker, but they just have not been able to connect any of their heroes just yet. Okay, they're going to get a consolation prize in Chola, so they at least get rid of the silencer, but a lot of these fights, they've just been kind of outgunned, right? Like playing into RP, playing into Skewer is so hard for these heroes. And unfortunately for Small KK, that is, as you said, 3 deaths in a row. That definitely have not felt good for him. He's got Yasha now, but he's still a ways away from this Manta style, which helps him against Global, but it doesn't help him against everything else. So it's only going to be a small mitigation for him in these fights. But maybe with Aeonid getting these auras, that's when they can start to feel better. But Karma the way he is, doesn't want to stop.
Unfortunately, it's going to be a hard job getting the auras when you're spending so much time in the fountain. And Aeonid is about to make a trip right back there. You will drop a Fiend's Gate here, but Han is like, mate, come on. Come on now. Come on now. Respect me a little bit, please. Be serious.
Okay. I thought they may not have had enough damage to kill Aenid there, especially with some rotations coming in from the supports. Small KK's in trouble.
He is indeed. So let us try and run himself away from Dong. The global silence comes just a second too late. Had it been slightly earlier, it would have been a great situation. Instead, though, Seth Silencer will find himself getting punished by Small KK. That's a very nice pickup. And it's great that Small KK gets the kill. Not just because he needs gold, but man, he needs a morale boost here, Fluke. And it's nice to kill the guy that's been making your life a living hell.
Yeah, the small little outplay there from Small KK, you know, accidental or not, still ends up in them using Global Silence, not getting a kill and losing a life. So that's exactly what they need to do now. They need to work off the back of this. They don't have Global Silence for another 95 seconds, so a minute and a half is a good time for them to use their Batrider blink, right? There's going to be about 40 seconds by the time Lasso comes back up. They're not going to have Global Silence. So just get Eren together, get Ranfu down together, get Small KK together, go and kill someone, even if it's not somebody big like the Terrorblade. Like, it's going to be hard for them to kill Dong nonetheless. But if they're able to catch Han, maybe they can do a lot of damage to Kama, maybe they can, you know, kill Chola again. I mean, it's more experience, more gold in your pockets because you need to have that advantage to try and push this game over the edge for the side of Team Disillusion. Or it's going to get to the point where I think Dong's just going to solo carry this, you know?
Yeah, Terrorblade is getting kind of scary. Has the full Manta complete, more than halfway towards having Skadi as well. So very, very soon, Dong is going to be a terror to behold on the map, which he already is, to be fair. We did just pick up a Lincoln Sphere right now for this Pango. So we have some anti-Batrider tech at the ready. Ranfu Dao, he has no tech to protect himself though. The Ancient Seal was pretty nice. And there's the lasso from Eren. We're falling quite low on Kama's Magnus. He is still alive though. RP will be used in. It throws in all Small KK into the rest of Supernova. And he dies, but he brings the Void Spirit down with him. Han finding a very nice swashbuckle, forcing Lanfur to pop BKB. Eren though doesn't have a BKB to pop. Doesn't have any life to give anymore. And Dong is the one credited with the kill, putting him in on an unstoppable streak. What a game for Supernova. It's a tier 2 tower now as well in the bottom lane.
Yeah, they just don't have quite the damage just yet. They're still waiting on Lanfur to be a scary hero. You're going to see in these fights that as soon as somebody gets caught out and can't really utilize all of their skills straight away, it becomes very, very hard for them to kill these heroes. Karma's got caught in almost the entirety of a Mystic Flare and just didn't even die. Yeah, they had to overcommit for him once again, and the fact that Small KK still doesn't have Manta Style means these fights are so hard for him. You can just see all these little dots and debuffs and stuff that it's hard for him to deal with. And, you know, if he gets Manta Style in that fight, he's able to play around some more stuff. He's able to be a bit cute. Maybe he can get an extra Assimilate off. He can deal a little bit more damage, and then they kill Karma and they get out, right? But it's just not the way that it's going, and these team fights are becoming big wins for Dong as well, because he's starting to get involved. Like, he's been involved in the last couple of team fights, almost has Skadi available. Like, how do they kill a TB with Skadi? I don't think they have enough damage to kill both TB and Magnus.
She's going to have an obscene amount of HP. Let's actually see. So once he finishes the Skadi, it's 2.7k HP, 32 armor. And he still has Sunder to play with. Good luck, have fun. Enjoy yourself, killing him off. And I think now's the time.
Back him up and all that other stuff.
You just go Roshan, right? If you're on the side of Supernova. Yeah. Go into the pit, get yourself an Aegis, leverage it to try and take over more of the map.
Yeah, and it's just going to snowball so hard for them now, right? Like, we already touched on the fact that it's hard for them to kill one of these cores, let alone two of them. Now one of them is going to have an Aegis. They're able to just kind of walk into your buildings. And what's your response from the side of Team Disillusion? What, like a Blink Lasso and a 4-staff out? Yeah, it doesn't feel too great, especially because the Mystic Flare is only level 1. So it's not like you're really getting a free pick with, like, Lasso into Mystic Flare into, like, an Aether Remnant. Your Underlord's not going to provide any damage because he's an Underlord. He may make you a little tankier, so Small KK can do more damage, but again, he's just having to be on split pushing duties, and if he ever gets caught out, he's most likely going to die.
Speaking of split pushing duties, they put Small KK on him, and sadly, it might lead to his death. Do they have the damage to kill him before he escapes, though? He does dissimulate and jumps with the Astral to the far side. Yo! Kama does not find the skewer. So he escapes last second, draws a lot of attention and draws a global silence. Well, sometimes playing very high risk does get you high reward. And finally, it does happen for Small KK.
Yeah, and even, you know, the passive part of Manta, just the extra stats, just gave him enough HP to live there. Like enough HP to be able to live the global and the RP combination. This is a massive moment now for Team Disillusion. They've got everything available. Yes, they have to play into an Aegis, but they don't have to play into RP. They don't have to play into Global Silence. They can get a kill. They can get a fight going their way. Maybe they can start to turn this game around, but they need to find it now.
They caught the memo fluke as they're smoked up. They're coming. Small KK, he's the one that goes first. They find the last two onto Camera. That's a huge pickup, but he has BKB. He gets forced off the way by his team and kept alive. Can they chase anybody else down? They TP out on the silencer right in front of his face. At least Sheep might be a potential target here on the left-hand side as the Enchantress dragged back in by the Aether Remnant and will finally be killed off. Lanfer went forward with the BKB, but sadly, Dong is here. Metamorphosis Terrorblade, baby. You said they don't have enough damage to kill both. They might test that theory as they're running forward. He gets access to the Empower. Rolling Thunder stalls Iron it up, and this Underlord will go down. Ranfuda might not be lucky either as he gets caught with the last few seconds of the Rolling Thunder and now killed off by Dong. Somehow this guy keeps getting double kills on the TB. He gets it again, and another team fight victory that they forget for Supernova. And Fluke, that's the fight that they started on the side of Disillusion, and it did not work out for them.
Yeah, it's just very hard for them to keep the team fights going if they don't get that initial jump to net themselves a kill, right? Like you can see they really rely on Blink Lasso to kill somebody. And you didn't kill Kama that time around, and everyone just runs away from you. Like they're going to swashbuckle away, they're going to skewer away. Enchantress is very hard to kill. Yeah, the silence is probably the only one that you might be able to catch if these fights go bad, but it just means that it's so hard for them to get the team fight they want because Supernova can disengage, and then they just re-engage with like Blink Skewer, they re-engage with their Terrorblade, popping Metamorphosis, and now they get another freebie.
Case in point, Blink Skewer even drops the RP for good measure. Shola will be credited with some additional intelligence. Sheep gets the kill. The tower's gonna fall. And to make matters worse, Fluke, look what's available right on the left-hand side. Just got it out by Shola. It's like, hey, look, there's a young Tormentor. And you know what's gonna happen after we kill the Tormentor? If we just stick around a little bit longer, we're probably gonna get the next Wisdom Rune.
Yeah, and this is the dire side snowballing. Pretty hardcore, right? Especially if you get the first Roche on the Radiant side. Very little control Radiant can have.
Bro, Dong is actually so good. They get the tower. He TP's bottom, denies the tier 2, forces away Small KK. They still have access to their own Tormentor again now. And he did it with while barely playing with any mana. But I think Small KK is like, probably has the whole team behind him. Nope, it's just Dong by himself. What a player.
Still got a minute and a half left on the Aegis too, so this can open them up to put a little bit of pressure on the tier 2 tower. I think even without the Aegis, if the Aegis does get reclaimed, like look at how much gold they've got on their supports, man. Like they're more than happy for this game to go the way that they want it to. Yep. Got what, double 4-stars on both their supports. There's a Hurricane Pike already on Sheep. You know, Han's at the point where he's got a Lincoln Sphere. We saw in that previous fight where the Rupture went out onto the Pangolier, but he had the Lincolns. So there's just so much net worth that they have to try and cut through here. To the side of Team Disillusion.
Small KK is still being put on side duty. Unfortunately for him, there's not really that much to pick up, and he might be needed to come home because there is a DD Terrorblade. But the Aegis does expire in 30 seconds, so they're letting it go. Right now, Aaron just TPing out, having drawn some attention from Han. And I must say, Small KK making these side adventures, this has kept him in the game, net worth-wise. Like, he's top 4. At some point in this situation, he was bottom of all the cores. Done a really good job for himself to remain relevant in game 1.
Yeah, I think Small KK does a really good job at playing these side lanes really well and understanding where he can and can't be. There has been a few times where he's been caught out positioning-wise, but most of the time he's causing a whole lot of rotations, right? And that's a good thing for the side of Team Disillusion is they're just trying to see if they can close the gap, trying to see if any of these items coming up are going to be able to enable them in the fights. Like, Aeonid's doing a really good job at being a big damage mitigator for them, but they just need Lonfer to get in these fights, right? They need Lonfer to be able to stick onto some of these cores, for him to stay alive, get a big burst of healing coming in from his thirst, but they just haven't been able to find that fight just yet. And this is a big kill. They can grab it.
They can't find Kama, and there's no point jumping Han since he has this Lincoln Sphere. So yet another adventure from the side of Team Dissolution that goes to nothing. This is like when your boys holler at you. They're like, hey man, come hang out at my house this weekend. It's going to be awesome. Great. We get there and we just do chores all weekend. What the hell's wrong?
That is very depressing.
Oh.
Hopefully there's a bit of partying for Team Disillusion soon, because it seems like Supernova is starting to circle in, really starting to close out the map and just doing a good job after a botched gank. You understand that they don't really want to smoke up straight away after a gank like that goes your way, so you're able to just freely walk through their own jungle. You're the strong team. Close out these two lanes and really start to push towards mid and bottom. And really try and close out this map, because if you're just constantly spending your time chasing small KK around, like he's not like a hero that's going to be able to take the base against you. So as long as you're just keeping at least 2 lanes in favor of yourself, then you should be able to get some of this tower damage and not have to worry about, a tier 2 tower going down top.
Small KK, speaking of him, he's still on the side lane duty, keeping these waves pushed in. Legitimately doing a phenomenal job at this. And it's getting him with the gold that he needs. More importantly, right now, he's secured buyback. So even if he gets caught out randomly here, firstly, it's super far away from his base. But if by some miracle, one hero catches him and the rest are ready to push, he is at the ready to jump back into the fray. He's even actually drawn back some support. Dong is top lane already. And I think they want to play around this next Roshan for Supernova. Potentially up in the next 40 seconds. No real need to try and force a high ground push. But that does buy time. Lanfer will have the full butterfly completed, as well as the Aghanim shot, by the time the next big fight ends up happening. Unless Supernova can force it right now, and they're going to smoke up its 5 here, Fluke.
Yeah, this could be a 4 versus 4. Small KK and Dong are nowhere near.
Okay, good. They get the RP out onto Lanfer. They don't have the damage without Dong though for this. BKB gets popped by this Bloodseeker. He's going to attempt to just TP out. Lasso will be there onto this Magnus. And how did he get stunned? What happened to his TP? He needs to run away right now on the Bloodseeker. Global Silence was used. Ionit coming in, putting his body on the line to just draw attention away from the Bloodseeker and putting it towards Karma. They actually kill this Magnus. Bloodseeker now running around in the fight. He can't survive it. Dong gets there in time to just rinse him down with the Scotty hits. Although he almost killed Han to recover his HP. Fluke, what happened to his TP? I thought he was going to get out. Did he get too scared of the damage output?
I think he manually cancelled it. Maybe he got a call from one of his other teammates to stand and fight, because he cancelled and threw a rupture out instantly. So, yeah, I don't know. He did a decent amount of damage, I will say that. But Lonfer just not being able to be on the same page as everybody. Small KK was so far away from that fight, and Dong is on a Terrorblade, so him coming at the end of these fights just kind of means they secure it, right? Because everybody else is doing so well. But the fact that there's no small KK at the start of this, like, look at this. He's TPing. Yeah, he just cancels it.
Oh, no. Why?
I don't know. He just wanted to fight, it seems. And then that just means that this fight just goes the way of Supernova, because Lonfer wants to try and get the chase there onto Han, turns his attention back onto Sheep, but that was just into the waiting arms of Dong, who, as I said, because you're a Terrorblade, when you turn up that late to a fight, especially if the fight hasn't gone like 4 for 0, you're just walking in and you're just being able to handle people, and that's exactly what Dong was able to do. And it was a half-decent fight. It was a good choice, but they just weren't able to complete it. And I'm really starting to feel the impact of this support Batrider, which just has not been able to do
Almost
much.
died.
Unfortunately for this game, and maybe this is something that we're going to learn for Team Dissolution, that maybe support Batrider just isn't it, especially in these games where you're behind it. It really does fall to the wayside and feel quite bad.
Aaron really struggling in this game right now. Does at least have a gem, so it can help his team out in terms of map control. They're actually going to go for another smoke. Him, Smoke KK, and Ranfu Da. We've seen this trio go on many forays on the map. It has yet to work out for them, but this time around, they only come across a lowly silencer. So that's a nice quick kill to get. They even drop a Fiend's Gate from Iron. They want to come closer to the fight.
Here.
Dong gets himself ruptured up. Lanfer thinking about maybe putting damage onto him. He does already pop the Satanic a little bit early. Han trying to buy interference at the same time. Small KK, he's gonna get the RP. Global Silence will be there as well. And the Void Spirit's gonna end up dead. Nova now will be happy to turn around as Dong feels very happy without Rupture anymore to put in the right click damage. They're looking towards Ironid. This Ironid Underlord is going to die to Sheep's impetus shots, giving him a double kill. Eren taken out by Han as well with the swashbuckle. And that doesn't necessarily mean Ranfuda was safe, because Kama does have the harpoon. 4 heroes will die. Only Lanfer survives. And yet again, they start the fight. They can't finish it.
Yeah, and it's just hard for Lanfer to play this game, right? Like, he ruptures the Terrorblade, and it's like, okay, well, I still kind of can't fight the Terrorblade because he has Satanic. And then so he runs away from the Terrorblade, and then he's already about half HP, and he's just like, well, I can't really re-engage with anybody else because they're going to run away from me because I don't have Rupture. And then Small KK just doesn't get the extra kills on the side of the map. They just get the buyback coming in from Shola, and that just means the Global Silence comes down. And these fights are very hard for the side of Team Disillusion. Even though the net worth is not that huge, it's just the fact that Dong is so huge, right? Like, he is 27k net worth right now. He's got MKB. He's almost got a full Silver Edge coming out. Satanic Sky. Like, this guy is very hard to deal with, and they're already having struggles killing Karma as well as Han. So if they can't deal with those guys relatively quickly and relatively easily and try and isolate and kite out the Terrorblade, then they're just not going to win these team fights handedly enough. And it's just slowly but surely becoming way too hard for Team Disillusion. You can just see these desperation smokes, right? Like, they're just smoking because they want to see if they can catch out some of these cores being a little lazy and not sticking with their team.
Yep. They should be aware that Roshan is the next port of call for Supernova. I don't think they'll be able to steal it, but maybe they can find a pick-off around this area. Best case scenario, you find a pick-off and you steal the Roche, but that feels like we're asking for a bit much. Worst case scenario though, Fluke, we lose the fight, then we just lose the whole game. We get vision onto Chola now. He forced off to the left-hand side. He is wasting a lot of time. Pops a Global Silence as well. Will end up dead though. This actually could prove to be very beneficial. He doesn't have buyback, but even if he did, there's no Global. But they're not going to sneak the Roche. They're feeling confident here. They're thinking about taking the heads-up fight. I don't know about that one, but we'll see what they decide.
They still have Lasso, and they still have Mystic Flare, so they can burst somebody.
Oh my goodness, the person getting bursted though is Lanfer. He got dragged back in by Karma. Han goes in with the Rolling Thunder. They find and kill Eren. He's forced into buying back as well. Small KK on the high ground, just forced to run himself away as he can't contribute to this fight. I say that though, but he might contribute in the form of a corpse. He gets RP'd. He almost dies. Survives with 60 HP. He makes it out. He TP's home. Small KK is allowed to live. Dong though, him and Sheep trying to make sure the rest of his lineup is not allowed to do the same. They're forced to drop the Rupture onto the TB. But like you mentioned earlier, this Rupture is not an offensive one. It's just trying to zone this guy away. And even with half health, he still casually saunters into the Roshan pit. Despite a very good start to the fight, the Aegis might still belong to Supernova unless they can stop them from Disillusion.
They're going to try. I don't know if they're going to be fast enough, though. This Roche is going to go down. Yes, so they were just not fast enough, but maybe...
They're still going to fight! They jumped onto this Dong Terrorblade. They really want him down, but he is carrying an Aegis right now, so a difficult customer. Kama trying to go directly onto this Bloodseeker, but will end up dead to him and Small KK. Lanfer finally able to put in some damage in this fight, and that allows him to kill Dong. Han needs to run away, but Small KK and Lanfer kill him off. And now look at Dong caught inside the Pit of Malice. He tries to fight with the Satanic, but it's not going to be good enough. He dies 90 seconds in the grave. No buyback for him either. What the hell just happened? What a massive turn. This would have been so big for them, but they have to go home because their base is in shambles and somebody has to go and defend it.
Oh my god. See, this is what happens when Lanfer is actually able to play the video game. That was such a good team fight. It's separating the Terrorblade from everybody else, right? Like, you need to make sure that Small KK and Lanfer are far enough away from the Terrorblade that the Skadi slow and the damage that he does is not going to be scary. We'll watch it here in the replay, where Eren just goes directly in. They get the lasso out onto the TB. They're about half HP him, and then they almost instantly get the Heaven's Halberd off. So Aeonid understands that if you can separate this fight enough and force Dong Dong to have to spend more of his time walking rather than fighting, it's a lot easier for Lonfer. And also, they probably would have understood that there was going to be no metamorphosis for that fight because it got used in the last one. And that meant that that was a very weak point for Supernova to play in. And that was a massive net worth swing. That was about 9,000 gold, almost 10,000 gold swing for them. And starting to look strong right now. They still have to play in a big amount of team fight for Supernova, though.
Almost 12,000 damage was dealt out by Lonfer in that engagement. And they will be able to get themselves a melee Rax to the mid lane. This is excellent Dota from them. Getting this, resetting the map equilibrium, equalizing the Rax advantage, shutting down the Aegis as well in the process. This, you know, in Dota right now, it feels like you get these windows, these 2-minute, 3-minute windows where everything comes your way. You get all the runes on the map, you're able to take out a bunch of ancient stacks, you get Raxes, you get a Roshan fight, maybe you get an Aegis as well. And you mentioned that Lonfer was allowed to be in that fight, sticking around, but also we didn't get to see Dong spending that much time actually hitting Lonfer. He's the only one with the MKB. So if you have BKB Butterfly and you're not next to Terrorblade, you're effectively immortal in that fight.
Yeah, and I think they just recognized exactly how they need to play these team fights, right? They split him off with a Pit of Malice, so he couldn't walk through, the stairs area here near the Roche Pit. They made sure they silenced him, so he had to pop his Manta early. They also halberted him, so he had to walk up. And then they also separated the fight even further by going on the opposite side of the stairs. So it was a good fight there from Team Disillusion. And this is what I talked about in the pre-show, right? Is you never really know with Team Disillusion if they're going to look super clean or if they're going to feel pretty clunky. And they've been kind of clunky, I would say, for most of this game. I think they've been getting outplayed in a lot of these fights by Karma as well as Chola, but they're really starting to pull this one together here in the late game. And it's not like the game's over for them. They've still got 2 lanes of Rax that are healthy and ready. And I mean, if Lonfer gets to a point where maybe he's got Aghanim Scepter, they're getting a lot more of this mitigation coming out from Aeonid. Eren's actually turning into a core with BKB. Like, they've got items, man. And they're starting to become scary, and Small KK is doing a really good job of just being pesky. Just being annoying, man.
Yep. I was watching some Dream League yesterday, and I can't remember who it was, but they were mentioning that they don't feel like there's that many comebacks that happen in 733C. And I literally burst out laughing on the couch. I was like, mate, come watch some Div 2 Chinese. Just watch Chinese Dota. It will very quickly dispel you of that notion. So you might have a 5v5 fight here happening. Supernova, they smoked all the way towards the Disillusion side of the map. Disillusion smoking their base. Kama, he's waiting on the stairs. His smoke will pop. He gets caught first. They have caught Kama. Will he be able to fight this? He finds an RP, but he's only able to skewer down the Batrider. Eren will die during the global silence duration. Han bought some time with the Rolling Thunder. So far, the only casualty of this fight has been that Bat. Doesn't have buyback either. Small KK jumps in, demolishes Sheep. It's also going to steal away a gem. That is a pretty big deal. Here, though, Kama finding a skewer onto Aeonid. Aeonid will die outside of the base without buyback of his own. Small KK, though, assassinates Chola, forcing a buyback out of the silencer. It's a 2 for 2, but with both supports buying back, looks like Supernova want to try and leverage their strength to take a lane of Rax. But they have used the meta. The duration is going down, so they have to make this happen right now. Cliff to buy some space and time. Ranfu down, finds the silence onto Kama before the skewer happens. He gets ruptured too. So Kama, he might die here. They just need one spell, Fluke, something. But they pass him a cheese. He heals back up. Ranfu down will go into a buyback. Small KK got bashed up during the swashbuckle. He's trying to go kill off Sheep. He's forced to Manta and dissimulate away, but he dissimulates forward. Kills off Sheep, yes, but he might die for this. The Astral Step not going to be enough to get him away as he gets bashed to death. He did make space for Lonfer to finish off Kama, however. Let's see, can they still keep the rest of the defense going? Looks like the answer is yes. Aeonid is coming back, Eren is respawning, and Metamorphosis is finished. So that signals the end of the Supernova push. And somehow, some way, they still defend the mid lane of Rax.
Oh, I thought that was probably game over there. They did a really good job at holding on. Yes, Small KK does throw his life away for that, but they had to use a lot of resources to get him killed. And he still does not have buyback for a decent amount of gold, so he's going to be sitting on that for a little bit longer, but holds on to his buyback, holds his base, and things will go around one more time. They've already proven that they can win at least one team fight So that's probably what Team Disillusion are really holding on to. That last fight, I thought they were going to be able to kill Karma, but they were on kind of two different minds, right? There was two different fights that were going on, and they just weren't able to come together and really get the damage out onto the Magnus, and he got that 2-man RP that meant a lot of the buybacks had to happen. So they can still do it. I'm not going to count them out just yet, but Nova are definitely well and truly ahead here, and feel like that they need to make sure that they just play clean, they just play concise, they get Dong into these fights, let him deal the damage, and they'll get carried.
Each time they beat themselves against the wall of defense and fail to finish it off, does mean a little bit of a tick up in itemization for the Radiant lineup. And as well, look at this gold lead. Has been shaved very much from the 20k mark it was earlier on. More importantly, Dota Plus also reckons that we have a 40% chance now of Radiant side winning, trending in their favor. So these small things have changed the game. Lanfa is not that far away from Abyssal Blade as well. I feel like Abyssal Blade, that's going to be such a game changer. That in tandem with Swift Blink, when he eventually gets it, then they actually have a way to get directly on top of Dong and try to 100 to 0 him, global silence or no.
Yeah. I also would like to see an Ag Scepter eventually be picked up by Lanfa. I think that'll enable a lot of his damage. Also gives you that extra bit of shield too, which feels like he is lacking a little bit of the survivability. Like he's, almost 3,000 health and 35 armor, but, he still needs to make sure that he's surviving in these fights as long as possible. Maybe the Blood Mist can enable him to do that with that early shield, but either way, both these teams understand that this game feels very tentative, right? Like they understand that, if Karma just gets caught randomly, Chola doesn't get global silence off, like these team fights can go one way or another. They have to play nice and slow. But are there any big items coming up? They're getting close to a Bloodthorn. Aaron's gonna go Ags, Aeonid, BKB. I don't know if that really helps all too much. Glimmer Capes. No, nothing that crazy on the Radiant side. There is an Abyssal Blade on Han, which can be very, very important for these fights. And Dong's basically slotted, so he's just... Is an MKB on Sheep? What?
Yeah, man, Sheep farmed. He built this earlier. Right? Hurricane Pike MKB. What a player.
That's a lot of damage, especially with the little friends too. You just get that extra bit of damage with the boys floating around, but also with the double creep with the enchant. Feels pretty good. So, yeah.
Also crazy enough, he has an enchanted quiver, so Sheep, a bona fide right clicker for his lineup. In the mid lane, they did manage to take down the range racks, and 6k gold lead now only for the side of Supernova. For me, right now, we're at that point in the game, Fluke, where the most important metric isn't net worth, isn't distribution of experience, it's who has buybacks available. Yep. And right now, the buybacks are actually in favor of the Radiant lineup. 2 supports still waiting 3 minutes on Dire side. So if they can try force a fight, maybe they can rely on the numerical overload on Radiant side.
They also have to be very mindful about where they take these fights as well, right? That's a big thing with these buybacks. Is it's all well and good to be able to get yourself back into the game, but if you're not going to be able to be a part of the fight, you might as well not have buyback, right? So understanding where you can take these fights, when you should take these fights is very, very important for these teams, especially as we get into the 46-minute mark where these games, I mean, everybody's felt this in their pubs, right? Like you're going, we've lost a couple of fights or two. A lot of these items are starting to come out. We have to be careful. Like Small KK has a Skadi now, man.
He does.
He's almost got 4,000 HP. He's very hard to deal with. And they're just walking and taking a lane.
Yeah, they knew that a tier 3 tower into a Rax attempt could actually happen because Roche was under siege. No, okay, somebody had to commit their life for this. Dude, 70 health? No. Small KK, dude. Sorry, bro. You know what you gotta do.
He's gonna do it.
There we go. It had to be done. Even if you died for this, #worth. Dude, this is... Okay, high key, real talk. Remember we were talking about Small KK, him having a rough time, not connecting with his rotations, 3 back-to-back-to-back deaths early on.
Yeah.
If they win this game, there's no way he's not the MVP. The amount of space he's bought his team with these split push shenanigans, and even the times he's put himself in the fight with his own body being like, kill me, leave Lanfa alone. Lanfa can escape, I will die, it's acceptable, it's fine. And it looked like feeding at the time, but it's bought the space and time necessary to bring them back to something that resembles parity. Like, it's actually 50-50 according to Dota Plus. That's actually nuts, this game.
Yeah, because I think the biggest thing when you look at the net worth, all of the net worth is on Dong. Like, it's not like everybody else is screeching ahead. Like, even the two cores on the side of Supernova, they've fallen behind their counterparts. So it's like, it's at the point now where it's literally Dong versus the world. And if he's not able to stick into these fights, and that's why I'm talking about, you know, the team fight spells coming in from Supernova are so important, because they need Dong to be able to get into these fights to win them for them. It's gotten to the point now where all the cores on the side of Team Disillusion are starting to get their items. Like, Small KK, like, he doesn't just die in an RP Global Silence anymore. Like, you need something more to kill this guy. You need the Abyssal Blade. You need the Rolling Thunder Chain Stun, because he's hard to kill and he's just going to sit around and he's just going to harass you like this in the side lanes. Maybe they try.
Oh my god, what a player! Small KK though will still get feared. How will he escape this one? RP will be there. Shola's here. They have the second RP. This time he does die. The first play was beyond sick. What a jump away. The Astral Step triggered the Mindbreaker to silence Camera. But sadly, I don't think he was aware of how much danger he was actually in. Didn't leave in time, ends up getting killed off. But still, think about where the team was. They were pushing through middle. They get forced top by Small KK. He'll have buyback again in 15 gold, so his base isn't even in jeopardy even.
Yeah, him getting clipped by the Terror Wave really done him in, right? Like, he was probably expecting nothing like that to come through, and popped his Manta a little bit too early. He got Global Silenced, and the second RP is what done him in. But Small KK, sick little play from him. Now let's see if he can defend it once again.
Yep.
They really do not want to use his buyback here, so they're going to use everything they can to try and hold on. Probably happy with this lane going down, maybe.
If it does go down, it only equalizes the situation, right? They're not losing out on anything. They still are losing quite a lot of HP on this Terror Blade. They lasso back this Kama Magnus and they kill him off. He's dead, down for rights, no buyback. Small KK buys back too. He jumps into the fray, almost kills off Sheep. Sheep though does pop the cheese. Han with Rolling Thunder doing what he can to get them away from this Terror Blade. He comes back with the Terror Wave, but there is an Abyssal Blade from this Bloodseeker. Wonderful Sunder at the very last second. Allows him to survive off of the husk that is Ironed, but it's not going to allow him to survive the entire fight. As they come back for him when his BKB elapses, they kill him off. 4 heroes have died. They're about to make it 5 as Shola gets found, gets killed, granting a double for Small KK, who bought back for this fight. But wow, what a buyback. How much worth did they get from this? They have the official gold advantage. They have saved the base. They didn't even lose the Rax, Fluke.
That was a sick lasso coming in from Aaron. He did exactly what he needed to at the right time to be able to bring the Magnus back in towards his base, and everyone from Team Disillusion played really well in that fight. The way that they were able to just kind of outplay everything that went on. I wasn't sure if Supernova were going to press the envelope. I don't think they should have. They were probably going to get that lane of Rax no matter what, right? Like, if they were just getting chipped away and they got a buyback out of Small KK, great, you leave, you disconnect, but now they're in a very rough spot with no buyback on the Magnus.
Holy smokes, what a comeback from Team Disillusion if they can make this win happen. The Ancient is exposed and they're clicking it down. Fluke, they can't stop this from happening. It's done, it's dusted. GG or play Team Disillusion.